The Bodum Vacuum Santos coffee maker is one of my favorite ways to prepare coffee. I think of all the different methods there are for preparing coffee, whether it's a drip coffee maker, a French press, a single cup pour over, or cold drip water press, none of it has as much theater as the Bodum Vacuum Santos coffee maker. This is a little intimidating at first, but you'll get it very quickly. So we're just going to drop the filter right into the center here, sort of on a spring, and you'll notice that there's a little chain that just hangs down here, which is going to allow you to pull this out very easily. Pull this out. You'll feel a little resistance. That's okay. You definitely want that. And you just hook the clip here around the edge of the glass tube that's going to stick down into the lower chamber. I've weighed out my coffee. I've ground my coffee to pretty coarse consistency for this type of brewing method. Simply place that in the top chamber here. So now I'm going to get my stove going. We'll place that right on top there. Now I'm going to get my hot mitts out for safety here. Slide these on, and I'm going to affix the top globe to the bottom chamber. Now when you do this, it's really important that you get a very nice tight seal. So you just gently rock it into position. You don't want to exert too much force, otherwise you run the risk of damaging the coffee maker itself, but just get those nicely fixed together, just like that. And now we just begin a little bit of a waiting process. It shouldn't take too long, but we'll start to notice in the lower chamber, the water's going to start to heat up. I'm beginning to see the water seep up, and you can just start to see the grounds becoming a bit wet in the top chamber, which is perfect. That's what we're looking for. So let's go ahead and start our timer at 2 minutes. And I'm just going to raise the top here and give this slurry a little bit of a stir. Now in probably just a few more seconds, we should start to see a more aggressive water boil, and the water will really start to flow then up into the top chamber. You can see here now we get that aggressive boil. The water's really raised up top. Shut off our timer. Give this just another few seconds, I think, maybe a little bit longer to really percolate a little bit inside the top chamber there. While that's finishing up, I'm going to grab a cold surface. Now you can place the pot on any heat-proof surface. I don't want to damage our wood surface here, so marble would work great, or maybe a granite countertop, something like that. I've chosen an Opilco plate, which is going to be okay for the shock resistance. That's what we're looking for. So again, grabbing my pot holder, turning off the hot water, and then I'm going to move it. Let's get this out of the way. And very carefully, I'll move the entire unit over to my cold surface and place that there. This is where really the theatrics, I think, come into play. Once we place it onto the cold surface from our very hot gas stove, there'll be a sort of a vacuum effect that takes place in the bottom chamber, and that's going to draw down all of the liquid into the bottom chamber, leaving behind all of the coffee grounds that, of course, have been mixing. There it goes. So here comes the drawdown, as we call it. It's just what we were looking for. Perfect. So that looks great. I'm going to get both pieces here so I can get this off as carefully as possible. Just give it a little bit of a wiggle. Placing it here. Probably keep my mitt on. The handle's plastic and it's somewhat heat-proof, but just for safety, again, let's make sure we use our pot holder here and pour right on into our coffee mug. So you can see it prepares probably enough for a couple people. You can also increase the quantity of water and coffee beans. I started with 6 cups. You can go up to 8, so you can do about 30 ounces of coffee at a time. And so it's a nice clean cup with the way that the drawdown happens. It leaves all the sediment and all the oils and things up top, so you're only getting the best parts of the bean down in your cup, and I think it's going to make for a really tasty cup of coffee.